Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I am Hiral Dadia. Clearly, the up move does continue in terms of markets, and we were holding above the 19,400 mark, but we've given up those gains slightly right now, and it seems we would probably close below those levels as we speak. Overall, if you see the advance decline ratio in favor of the advances, the Bajaj twins are holding forth today. Hero Moto on the back of the Harley bike is holding strong. But that's having a clear impact with regards to Eicher Motors, which is the top loser, seeing cuts of over 6% in trade today, followed by a Bharti Airtel Grasim as well as an Axis Bank. Let's quickly look at Bank Nifty as well. 45,350 is what we're tracing in terms of Bank Nifty after hitting a high of 45,655. It has cooled off and it hit a low of 45,000 in trade as well. So lots of movers and shakers in trade today, a lot of movement happening in the large cap space. And to discuss as to what one should do from a derivative and technical perspective, joining us is Kunal Rhambia, founder at The Street. Kunal, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Hiral.
Kunal, always a pleasure. My first question coming to you is, let's start off with the two counters which are in focus from the auto space. Eicher Motors as well as Hero Motor, both in different directions and on a fundamental basis. We already know the reasons why. But what are charts indicating and what should the strategy be with both these names?
So, if you look at the overall performance of Eicher Motor, it was more or less on the sideways, and the first peak of this counter was seen in the month of October 2022, where it hit the high of around 3,900. From there, it came down to 2,800, and recently again, it just took the pause near to the same high, that's 3,800. And today we are seeing a decline. I feel on the weekly charts, it's making a double top formation, though it's too early to say, but I think it's topped out for time being. One can, look at the shorting opportunities of the same. Till the time this counter moves about 3,700, I would remain on the short side. I'll prefer to short on every high from here on. I think this counter can show us the levels of 3,100 in the time to come. And if I talk about Hero Motors, again, that's given a fantastic breakout, a sideways massive consolidation since 2021. The breakout was at 2,800. It just went up to 3,000, retested the level, and again heading the northward journey, continuing with the northward journey. I think the targets on this counter now can be 3,300 and above that 3,500.
Right, so that's with regards to Hero as well as Eicher Motors. Moving on, two other stocks which are holding fort are the Bajaj twins, Bajaj Finance as well as Bajaj Finserv. What should the strategy be according to you on both these names?
The massive rally was seen in Bajaj Finance. To be very honest, the first breakout which we captured was near to 6,000. We exited near to 6,600, and this counter just continued the rally. The second breakout was at 7,000 with the target of 7,700. And mind you, right now it's trading at 7,850. It's crossed all previous resistances. If counter sustains above 7,700 for a couple of days, I think one can initiate a fresh buy with the target of 8,000 plus 8,200 plus from the present levels. I feel now this counter is overheated and it's extremely overbought as far as the technicals are concerned. I'll stay cautious. So that's the reason we have initiated, we have actually booked our profit in house also. But from the present level, if it sustains at this level, one can initiate a buy with the target of 8,200 on Bajaj Finance.
Right. From the BFSI sector, there is accumulation in terms of PNB, Federal Bank, and Canara Bank as well. How would you look at these three names?
Among the entire PSU banking space, I like the Can Bank and Punjab National Bank the most. The only reason for that is that if you look at the PNB chart from 2020, rather 2019 so far, it's made a massive curve formation. Again, a small curve which is ongoing right now. And if you look at the technicals, it just looks like cup and handle formation. The breakout of that, mind you, the breakout of that is still pending. It's above 59.5 for PNB. Above 59.5, I think this counter can show us the levels of 75 to 80 mark. So one can watch out for the new entry on this counter. And Ken Bank has already given the breakout. That breakout was at around 295. It's now again within the consolidation. And the fresh breakout is now turning up on the chart beyond 330. One can initiate a buy about 330. I think the targets on this can be placed till 360. That's almost 10% from that level too.
Right. So that's with regards to where a few of the names that we've discussed from the financial space. But moving on, how are you looking at the HDFC twins at current point in time?
So again, news making counters, and at the same time, a massive rally was seen witnessed on the indices mainly because of Bajaj Twins and HDFC Twins. If I look at HDFC Bank, historical data suggests that on somewhere in the month of October 2021, counter made a high of around 1725. The same high was witnessed in April 2022. The same high was seen again in April 2023. And mind you, this is the fourth or fifth time the counter is again back to 1725. So unless this counter crosses 1725 decisively on the higher side, I think here the pause is likely. And obviously, we know the adjustments which are going to happen here. If I look at HDFC per se, the new rally was witnessed. Every time it's making a curve formation and a new high. But again, because it's curve formation, I personally feel that HDFC should come down from the present level to around 2750. That's almost 130 points from the present level, and this the ongoing journey may just continue. So the trend is positive. One can buy on dip, but not at the present levels.
Right. Kunal, IDFC as well as IDFC first, if you have to look at both of these counters as well, everyone's talking about an arbitrage opportunity that emerges on the back of the merger. And at the current market price, it's around 8 to 9% kind of a premium for an IDFC shareholder. In the F&O market as well, if you see the open interest addition is pretty strong, volumes are also pretty strong, and this is for both the July series as well as the August contracts as well. What should the strategy be according to you?
So I'll just speak purely from the technical side first here, and that's on the HDFC Limited. If you look at the historical data
No,
again,
I'm talking about IDFC.
2007 and sorry,
Yeah.
IDFC Limited. So that's from the peak of 2007 and 8, where the counter made a high of those 113, 115. IDFC Limited is again back to the same high of 113 and 15. So from present level, I personally feel the counter should again come back to those. There should be some kind of retracement because this has been a one-sided rally. So the levels which I'm watching out for IDFC Limited as of now is around 100 to 99 kind of. If that level is achieved, then I think that can be the good entry to initiate a fresh buy. On the front of IDFC First Bank, there has been a clear double top formation on the daily chart. The resistance is at around 83. Today also it just came down. It's down by around 4%. I think again this counter seems to be topped out for now. From here, the present decline, if at all continues, can come down to 72 to watch out for. So both the counters seems to be now under pressure from the present level due to previous highs, which we just discussed.
Absolutely, and IDFC first, any which ways is seeing some short positions that are being built, whereas it's different in terms of IDFC Limited. But moving on, apart from that, let's look at a couple of other names, which are seeing some amount of traction in today's session. How are you looking at the metal pack? Let's look at a Hindustan Copper. Again, short positions being built on this counter. What should the strategy be?
Um, Again, if I look at the chart formation, I don't really feel that there seems to be an immediate resistance. But yeah, going
Mhm.
forward, there may be some resistance. But on the Hindustan Copper chart, I think the resistance is placed at around 120 to 123. So from the present zone, I think 5 6 rupees more on the upside is likely. But from there, we may see some kind of selling pressure coming up because the only reason for that is there seems to be a symmetrical triangle formation on the chart. And if Hindustan Copper manages to cross those 123 mark on the upside, I think then the targets can be 160, 165. But for time being near to resistance, one can keep an eye on the short opportunities. But so far, short opportunities are not clearly on the chart. I think counter below 114 can show us the levels of 109, 10 kind of. We'll just revisit then again.
Right, so there's a revisit that could come in on those names. Very lastly, if you see in terms of stock specific action, there are a few of the counters which are seeing some bit of short covering in today's session from the IT pack as well. HCL Tech, Infosys, LTI Mindtree. What's the trend that we are staring at? Because next week we will have TCS also that will report earnings on the 12th. So is that a precursor to the earnings that we are seeing, the shots which are being covered?
Uh, If you look at the last 15 years of trend on the IT segment, I personally feel these counters are right onto the support. If I just take an example of say TCS, the TCS is right near to the trend line support, which is made by connecting 2009 and 2020 bottom.
Hmm.
The counter is offering the risk reward ratio, which is to the tune of 1:5. So these counters seems to be just perfectly poised for the new rally. It's just matter of time. If someone is looking out for good investment opportunities, I think the entire IT pack can be in the portfolio from the present zone. My best pick on this will be first TCS and second is TechM. If you look at the TechM's today's behavior, Count has given a sharp up move coming out of massive consolidation since June 2022. Sideways consolidation, the breakout is at around 1160s. I think the target on this can be 1360 to 1400. So two counters to watch out for. First is TCS and the second is TechM, which is my favorite pick.
Right. So that's with regards to where individual counters go. Kunal, we've not really spoken about the markets, but if you have to look at Nifty as well, right? Let's start. I mean, let's talk about that trend as to what could be on, because a sixth consecutive session of gains is what we've started to see. Now, it seems that there will, we are starting to see that supply pressure coming in at 19,400 already. Do you think these are levels where we will see profit booking now from here on? And buy on dips should be the strategy and sell on rise is what we should look at?
So correctly highlighted here. If I look at the again last 2 years data, I'm just trying to place the trend line using technical studies, and that's by connecting Jan 2022 high and the recent high, which is of December 2022. Nifty has just hit the perfect resistance mark in today's session. The trend line resistance is placed at 19,450. Surprisingly, it went up to 19,500, but the closing is coming right onto the resistance, which is 19,450. From here on, the strategy should be to reduce the portfolio longs, if at all these counters which have given really good rallies and those banking sector names. I think one should reduce the longs on the counters, and from here on, one should start looking at the short opportunities. If this trend is really strong, Nifty should come down to at least say 19,100 to 19,150 mark. That's almost around 300 to 350 points from the present level. We'll revisit and we'll see whether it's a buy on dip opportunity at that time or the correction may get extended then.
Right. So that's with regards to where Nifty goes. Now, if you see in terms of Bank Nifty as well, we are seeing a strong bullish trend. Though, it showed a small dip towards negative, but managed to sustain the positive momentum as well. Now, overall, what's your expectation from here on? Where do you see the spot? And, where do you think it'll hit a roadblock?
So I'm referring to Bank Nifty futures level. Presently, it's trading at 45,350. If I were to just summarize in one statement, I would say it's a perfect short opportunities from the present level. Stop loss on the upside can be say 500 points. On the lower side, I expect at least 1500 points correction on the Bank Nifty. It may not just come tomorrow or day after tomorrow, but that can be a gradual decline of next 10 to 15 days to watch out for. So next 2 weeks expiry. On the upside, I feel the cap is only 500 points. Cap is near to the present level to 500 points. On the downside can be at least 1500 points. On both the indices, it's a very clear take as of now that the markets seems to be hitting the resistance. The risk reward for the shorts from here on looks very favorable. One should reduce the positions wherever available and start to build up the short positions from mid-term perspective.
Right. Kunal, another question I have is taking the PCR into consideration. Yesterday, we were at around 1.47. And historically, we've seen that when the PCR hits that 1.5 mark, we've usually seen a reversal that comes in from there. Where are we currently, and what's the indication that you're picking up?
So again, I'm coinciding my technical view with this derivative data. If I were to look at the strike prices for the next week, I'm not referring to this week expiry, which is just 2 days away from the present day, but next week expiry. So 45,000 put option is showing me a decent build up from here on, and at the same time, 46,000 call option is giving me a good indication of build up, which shows that on the lower side the levels are around 350 points from the present zone, and on the upside 700 points, which is just coinciding with the technical levels which we discussed. So from here, if Bank Nifty manages to break 45,000 mark, I think that put option which we are seeing the build up on can be on the long side, and then we can expect further 1,000 points decline.
Right, I think it's going to be an interesting trade that we will continue to watch for the next couple of trading sessions. Thank you, Kunal, so much for joining us on the show and sharing those views. But clearly,
Pleasure.
if you see in terms of Nifty as well, 19,391, we've closed below 19,400 mark, but with gains of around 0.4% coming in there. Bank Nifty as well, almost 135 points gains, but below the 45,300 mark is what we are seeing in terms of Bank Nifty. Bajaj Twins, that's Bajaj Finance and Bajaj FinServ, biggest contributors to the Sensex gains as well, followed by Infosys. Hero Motors saw some smart moves, TechMem as well as Sun Pharma. In fact, the entire IT bank was seeing some amount of gains and some short covering that we have been witnessing as well in terms of the IT majors ahead of the TCS numbers that will be announced next week. Sun Pharma also saw some smart gains of 2%, whereas Eicher Motors has been taking a beating. And let's see how competition comes in the form of Harley as well as Triumph, and what happens with regards to Eicher's dominant position that they have been holding so far. Bharti Airtel, Grasim, Axis Bank, and Reliance Industries were few of the top losers in today's session. If you see in terms of the Sensex as well, overall, we've seen a close pretty much below the 65,500 mark in today's session, but gains of around 275 points coming in there. And you had Bajaj Twins, which contributed almost 175 points to the gains that we saw on the Sensex. TCS as well as Infosys, they contributed almost around 60 points, as well as HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank. But the pressure was being created by Reliance Industries, which was contributing and keeping a check by almost a 82-point difference. Bharti Airtel, Axis, as well as IndusInd Bank, these were few of the other losers. So clearly, stock-specific action is what we have been seeing, but there is a chance of a reversal that could be on the cards as well. That's what analysts are pointing towards, taking the data points into consideration from the technical as well as the F&O angle. But overall, the underlying tone is still positive. There could be some bit of consolidation, but buy on dips and sell on rally is the strategy that majority of the analysts are alluding to. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to BQ Prime.